morning, wherever you are in the world, whatever time of the day you're watching this live. Welcome to the Earthy Girl Experience. I'm Alicia, and thank you for being here. And of course, if you clicked on this video, if you're watching, you already know who we're going to be talking about today, who we're going to be doing a reading on today. And we're going to be doing a reading on our Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements. Okay, so if you are a Gemini with those placements, make sure to, drop the Gemini sign in the comments. If you are watching the replay of this reading, make sure to comment replay in the comment section below as well. And let me know where you're chiming in from, okay? What part of the world are you chiming in from? Look, I'm already getting tongue-tied. The throat chakra is activating. So, yeah, let me know where you're chiming in from. I'd love to know, okay? So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into it. Today's Wednesday. We got about 30 more minutes left, obviously, before the day is over with. And so it's Wednesday where I'm at. And of course, Wednesday is associated with communication. Okay, and Gemini, of course, we know are the masters of communication. Okay, so that is why I decided to do Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements today. Okay, so we're going to see kind of what's going on in your love life, Gemini. And if you resonate with anything in this reading, definitely let me know. Of course, like I say in every reading, this is a general love reading, so it's not going to be precise for every Gemini, right? Because there are millions of Geminis out there in the world with those placements that I mentioned before. Okay, so just take whatever resonates and let the rest fly, child. Okay. But of course, if anything resonates, definitely let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback, okay, on the energy that I'm picking up for this evening, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. And of course, if you're watching this, if you know a Gemini, if you're a cross watcher and you know a Gemini who could benefit from this reading, make sure you share this live with them, okay? Share the live because you never know. It may be something that they need to hear. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our reading this evening. Before we do that, I am just going to take a moment to just give honor to the Most High God for allowing me to be here and be present in this moment with my Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and Venus placements individuals. And I want to just thank the Most High God for allowing me to deliver whatever message that needs to be delivered to our fellow Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements. All right. Okay, Ashe, let's go ahead and get started. So we're just going to jump right into it. All right, Gemini, let's see what's going on for you for your love life. So for you guys, the first card that popped out is forgiving and learning. Okay, and it says that as you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. Okay, so we're going to see how this unfolds for you guys, okay? Because it sounds like that you guys have some forgiving and learning that you need to do as well. And, hey, we are in a retrograde right now. So, retrogrades are always about going back and reflecting, right? And sometimes that involves revisiting some things from the past and getting some clarity and closure on some things as well, okay? So now is a good time to do that with this retrograde happening currently, all right? Let's see what else pops out. Man. Okay, so the wedding card pops out for you guys, Gemini. So this tells me that, this could be a marriage partner, okay, or a marriage type situation. So whenever I see a wedding card come out, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are legally married. It means you could be in a common law marriage, okay? You could have been with someone for 15, 20, 25, 30 years, okay? And so a lot of times that is, a lot of states, that's considered a common law marriage, okay? So it says that this situation involves marriage, okay? So we could be talking about someone who's married, someone who's in a common law marriage, or someone who is in a relationship that there is potential for a wedding or marriage, okay? But again, we're going to see how this unfolds, all right? All right, let's see. All right, so The next card that came out is Love Yourself First. A lot of people are having to do a lot of revisiting of self-love, right? There's a lot of people that aren't pouring into themselves, okay? And I'm noticing that. And so this card says your self-respect makes you more romantically attractive, Gemini, okay? So you need to really put a lot more energy into loving yourself first, Gemini. Okay? Let's see where this goes. Let's see where this goes. Yeah, you deserve love. You deserve love, okay? So I don't know if there's, some of you out there that are having, self-doubts about if you're deserving of love, but you're definitely deserving of love. You are. But you've got some healing work you need to do as well. All right. And like I said, this Mercury retrograde is a great time to focus on that. All right. A lot of forgiving and learning that needs to be done first, and a lot of pouring into yourself. All right. All right, so for some of you, the retreat card came out here for you, Gemini. It says it's time to disconnect from the world. All right. So it sounds like some of you, and on this card here, it shows a couple, right? It looks like a married couple, right? Again, we had that wedding card come out as well. So we could be talking about a married couple here, or someone who is in like a common law type marriage. Okay. So it sounds like, some of you might need to retreat. Okay. Go on a vacation. Disconnect from the world. Okay. And if you can't go on a vacation, do a staycation. But find some way to retreat, okay? Retreat with your significant other. All right? See what else comes out. The playfulness cards comes out. It says to recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. All right? So some of you need to go retreat, and you need to, go be playful a little bit with your significant other. Okay? And maybe some of you have been talking about you need to go on a vacation, right? You and your significant other. And Spirit is giving you that validation on that. All right? Let's see what else comes out for you guys. Okay. Wow. All right. So this codependency card came out. This codependency card came out. It says addictions are affecting your romantic life, Gemini. So I'm not really sure, because hey, we are talking about Gemini energy, okay? So I mean, Gemini energy can be all over the place, all right? And of course, when we're talking about Gemini, we're talking about the twins as well, okay? So keep that in mind also. So for some of you Geminis, there's some codependency issues going on in your relationship, okay? I don't know if that's you or the partner, but there's some codependency issues going on in your relationship, all right? I feel like, though, and it really can go either way. I'm not going to say that. It could go either way, but you need to have some self-respect for yourself, Gemini. So you really need to learn how to just pour into yourself, love yourself first. For some Geminis, you could be putting too much energy into another partner who may have codependency issues, right? And so it may look as though you don't have enough self-respect for yourself because you are, maybe tolerating some codependencies issues in a partner, or it could be yourself, okay? It could be yourself. How's it going? How's it going, Capricorn in the house? All right. So, oh yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question. Great question. But I think you'll be all right. I think you'll be safe. I grew up around a lot of paranormal activity. So I think you'll be okay, Robert, with your question there about that lie that you just saw. All right. So for some of you, I think, you know, there is a relationship that is, a lot of codependency going on in the relationship. Spirit wants you to really focus on loving yourself, though, okay? Loving yourself, whether you're the person that's codependent on a vice, and those vices could be anything, okay? Doesn't necessarily have to be, a drug or a psychedelic. It doesn't have to be, an adult beverage. It can be, it can be sex. That can be a form of a vice that someone can be addicted to, okay? And sometimes it can get out of control, right? And cause you to lose respect for yourself, okay? And so, for some of you, you need to maybe work on that, or you need to maybe stop pouring so much into a partner and losing yourself and your self-respect over someone who has codependency issues. Okay. All right. Yeah. And I feel like for some of you, the codependency comes from something from the past, right? There's something from the past that's connected to the codependency issues that either you or your partner is dealing with. Okay. And like Spirit said, once you release and heal from the past, right, you'll be able to have experience more in your love life. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And I feel like for some of you, that might be affecting your current relationship as well. And maybe that's why Spirit wants you to retreat. Take some time with each other and retreat. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So the deception card came out. All right. This says that someone is wearing a false self mask in this relationship. So again, I think that's where it goes back to the codependency situation here, Gemini. Somebody is wearing a mask. Okay. And either they are pretending, right? They are pretending like they are, not codependent or addicted to something, right? Um, or either they are pretending to be content in the relationship when they really aren't, okay? That's the energy that I'm picking up there. Yeah. That's the energy that I'm picking up there. And I think for some of you in this relationship, right, there's a lot of playfulness. You guys get along. You definitely get along, right? That's where that playfulness card comes into play as well. You guys get along very well. Those of you that are in this committed long-term relationship, marriage, common law type situation, right? You can have fun in a relationship, but that doesn't mean that there isn't some form of mask there in the relationship. But I really think it's tied to the codependency, and it's tied to someone not being able to let go and forgive with something in the past. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you guys need to go on a marriage retreat. That's what I'm picking up on when I see the retreat card. Maybe the retreat is you guys maybe going on like a marriage retreat for some of you. And maybe that will allow that person, you or the other person, to be a little bit more open, right? Release the mask and be a little bit more vulnerable about, the issues that are going on in the relationship. Okay? Yeah, that's what I'm picking up. Yeah. Yeah, come on out. You was about to come out. Yeah. The flirt card came out. It says extend your lighthearted energy to others. Okay, Gemini. So I really think, you guys definitely need to go on some type of retreat. Those of you who are in a marriage type relationship, those of you who are in a common law type relationship, right? I definitely think that you need to go on some type of retreat, okay? So that way you can kind of get back to that that playfulness and that flirtiness that you guys, typically have in your relationship. Okay. For those of you who are single, though, you definitely need to be getting out and doing a lot more flirting. Okay. I think for some of you Geminis who are single, you're going to find someone, you're going to meet someone, right, while you're on a retreat. So for those of you who are not in a relationship, if you've been contemplating on taking a vacation, going on a vacation, I think you are going to have a lot of fun. You're definitely going to be doing a lot of flirting and a lot of playing around while you're on that retreat or vacation. Okay. So if you're looking for love and you've been wanting to go on a vacation, some of you are going to run into someone, right, while you're on vacation, and it's going to be a lot of flirting. Okay. A lot of flirting. I pick up like the energy of like going on a cruise, you know, going on, like some type of resort location, right? Where there could be a lot of like drinking happening, right? Adult beverages, partaking in that, right? That's where that codependency card comes in for the single Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising, right? So I think when you run into someone, it's going to be in an environment where codependency things tend to happen, like lots of drinking of adult beverages for the single Geminis out there. Okay. Yeah, definitely. All right. And this could be someone with the potential, right? You could run into someone while you're on vacation, while you're retreating, that could have that potential of like, a long term thing, right? You might meet them and you might be like, it might give like soulmate energy, right? Someone who could potentially be a long term partner for you, Gemini. Okay. If you are looking for love. Okay. Yeah. All right. But I'm really picking up like cruise energy. Some of you have been wanting to go like on a cruise, right? Especially the single ones. Single Geminis, you've been wanting to do like a little cruise type deal. And that's kind of what I'm picking up really strongly, right? And of course, when you're on a cruise, there's a lot of drinking happening. Definitely. Yeah. For some of you, though, there are some religious factors that are playing into your relationship. The religious card came out for you guys. It says your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. Okay, so going back to the married couple, the committed couples here, I feel like that religious card is coming out for you guys. Okay, and I think again this all ties into some of the subtle issues that are going on in your relationship as it relates to someone in your relationship having some codependency issues. Okay, and I think it's tying into religious issues also. Okay. All right. Definitely. Definitely. I feel like for some of you Geminis that are in relationships, I think not only are you having some codependency issues possibly, but I think some of you have been, wanting to maybe get back into your religion a little bit more seriously, wanting to maybe go to church more often, whatever that looks like for you, whatever religion you practice. I think some of you have been tapping more into your spiritual side. Those of you who, are more spiritual and don't are not assigned to a specific religion. Either way, whether it's a religion or it's you're more on the spiritual path, right? I think some of you have been tapping into that, right, a lot more lately, as a means to try to heal from the past, right? And I think that could be tied to the codependency as well. You could be utilizing it as a way to try to, instead of maybe going to therapy or rehab, you're tying or you're you know, leaning on your religion more. right? Or maybe someone in the relationship has been telling you that you need to do that, right? You need to, go back to church more, lean into, your religion more to help you with the codependency issues, okay? But like I said, there's nothing wrong with that, but rehab and therapy definitely, working with a professional is always a good thing, okay? And retreating is always a good thing as well, okay? Even for those of you who may want to do maybe a spiritual retreat, I feel like for some of you, that might be something that you might be considering as a couple, right? Maybe doing a spiritual type retreat also, okay? Definitely. So just let me know, where, because again, when we're talking about, a general reading, right, and we're looking at possibilities, we're looking at timelines, right? As a Gemini, you can fit in any one of those timelines, okay? It's just a matter of where you are in that timeline, all right? Are you the person that is having the issue and need to do the forgiving of the past and learning from the past? Or are you the other person that's telling your partner, right? Or is your partner telling you? All right? Yeah. Yeah. Let's pull out an oracle deck and let's see what the oracle deck has to say. Let's pull out an oracle card. I wanted to mention, like I said, I think I already said that, codependency can also be in relation to sex, right? So, like porn could be, I don't know if I should say that on live. I hope I don't get hit with anything, but like corn. Corn could be, um, you know, could be something that could be a codependency. Okay? Yeah. I'm always like trying to make sure I don't say words on the live that could like, you know, get my whole reading shadow banned because I said one word or something like that I shouldn't have said on the live. So y'all have to bear with me because I'm trying to, you know, navigate these live water streets without, getting myself in any kind of, trouble on the tube here. Okay, so the oracle card that came out for you guys is stand your ground. Stand your ground, Gemini. So if you are the person that is saying to your partner, like, hey, like, you got some, you're doing a little bit too much of this and you're doing a little bit too much of that, and it's affecting our relationship, right? It's affecting our relationship. I think we need to like maybe go on a marriage retreat, a spiritual retreat. I think maybe we need to start going to church more often. I think we need to do something, we need to do something to work on this because, at the end of the day, Gemini, you deserve love, right? You deserve to have the best relationship and to be in the best relationship, right? But you don't have to sacrifice so much of yourself. And you can only, a person can only put up with so much, right? You can be accepting. People can be accepting of certain things in a relationship, right? But there has to be a certain point where there has to be a line in the sand, right? Where, okay, like I can deal with this, but I can't deal with that. I can't deal with that, right? And that's where that love yourself card comes into play, right? Having more respect for yourself and what your boundaries are, okay? And what your limits are and what you can tolerate, right? So, Spirit wants you to stand your ground. Stand your ground, okay? With that number 7 card there, let me share something with you. For those of you who are not super familiar with numerology, right? That number 7 typically, when someone is in their 7th year, and I actually have a video on my channel where I talk about my experience during my 7th year. Okay, my personal 7th year, right? Because we all have our own personal year that we're in, right? And then we have the collective year based off of the man-made calendar, right? So I have a video where I dive into some of my experiences during my 7th year. So go check that out, okay? If you're not familiar with numerology, or if you are interested in learning about, maybe you're in your 7th year, okay? And you want to kind of get an idea of what that's going to look like. But typically when you are in your 7th year, right? When you come out of that 7th year, your life is going to be completely different, right? Typically during your 7th year, your personal 7 year, there's usually changes that occur in that particular year, that when you come out of that and you go into your year 8, which is your abundant year, usually your life looks totally different, okay? Whether it be, I'll give you an example. One of my 7th years, I had a child. A matter of fact, I think it was my first child. I went through my 7th year. So by the time I came out of that 7th year and rolled into my 8th year, I was a parent. I went from not having any children at all to being a whole mom, right? Once I came out of that 7th year, that was a major change that took place. Okay. So for some of you, I feel like you are definitely in your 7th year, right? Or it's that 7th year type energy when it comes to this relationship that's taking place. Meaning that there has to be a major change that takes place in the relationship. Okay? There's a major change that's happening in the relationship, right? Um, it's up to you to tell me and decide what that major change might be, right? But when we're talking about that 7 energy, there is usually a change, a shift that happens where the person you were before, you might be a totally different person, whether that's an identity change. I'm single before my 7th year, now I'm married. I'm married before my 7th year, now I am no longer married. See what I'm saying? So, in this instance, Spirit wants you to stand your ground, Gemini, okay? Stand your ground. And whatever that is, and if it's because you're not really okay with the codependency issues, then we need to work on that, okay? Or if it's the other person, we got to work on that, because that 7 energy is there, right? There's a change, a shift that is happening or about to happen, Gemini. Okay? Definitely. Definitely. All right. So that solar plexus card came out. That solar plexus card came out for you, Gemini. Okay. So, this really aligns with standing your ground, right? Being in your power, being in your own personal power, being confident, right? That's what that solar plexus represents, being confident in what it is that you stand for, what you will and will not tolerate anymore. Okay. So Spirit wants to just kind of emphasize a little bit more on the standing your ground through that solar plexus. All right. And being confident. If you're not that confident about standing your ground, then this is your validation from Spirit to own it. To own it. Whatever that is, you're own it. Okay? Own it. And even if you're that Gemini that is, tapping more into your spiritual, religious side, to help heal your, own it. Okay? Stand your ground. Don't let anyone change your mind, change your perspective on what you need to do. Okay, Gemini? Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Because with that solar plexus chakra, the number 3 for me in terms of this reading right now, it represents that codependency, right? There's you, there's the other person, then there's the codependency issue, there's the addiction, right? And that could be that could feel like a whole nother person, right? When someone is addicted to something, and it consumes them and it consumes their life, it can be like they in a whole nother relationship. They're just in a relationship with the vice. Okay? And that's where that 3 card comes, that three comes up for me in this reading. right? It's that triangle, except it's not another person. It's an addiction. It's a vice. It's something that's standing in the way. Yeah. Yeah. Spirit wants you to know, though, Gemini, that you will be rewarded for your hard work, okay? So if you are in the thick of trying to, get a handle on healing and letting go of the past, you will be rewarded at the end, okay? Spirit wants you to know that, okay? Sometimes it can be hard work, right? But there is always reward and recognition at the end, okay? Same thing goes for, you guys maybe putting in the effort in the relationship, right? Going on that retreat, that marriage retreat, that spiritual retreat, right? To try to bring in more, playfulness and flirtiness back into your relationship, into your marriage. The hard work at the end means that you're going to be rewarded, by the gods, right? You're going to be rewarded by spirit. You're going to be rewarded by the universe. Okay? But you gotta put in the work. Okay? You gotta put in the work. All right? And for those of you who are, single, I want to touch on that for you guys as well, okay? Because, with that solar plexus card for you single Geminis out there, Spirit wants you to have full confidence, right? As you are going out there into your, love life, or if you're seeking love, like I said, a lot of you are going to be going on a vacation, taking a vacation, or if you're thinking about taking a vacation, Spirit definitely encourages that retreat, right, for you, because, with that, there's going to be someone that you're going to meet, okay? There's going to be someone that you're going to meet while you're on vacation. All right. And so, there's going to be some reward and recognition for you single Geminis out there looking for love. It's coming. Okay. It's coming for you. All right. It's coming for you. So, if you out there acting like you don't want love, be honest with yourself. Okay. Don't be putting on a mask like you don't really care about love. I feel like some of you are kind of like, I don't care about love. I ain't trying to be in a relationship right now. Stop it. Because you deserve love, and everybody wants to be loved at some point. Okay? We're not meant to walk this earth and this world alone. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I think that's I think I'm going to stop there for you guys, okay? I hope that this resonated with you all. Let me know in the comments for those of you who are in committed marriages and, are in the common law type relationships. And for those of you who are single, let me know if this resonated with you. Like I said, take whatever applies and let the rest fly. Let the rest fly, okay? Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to end it there for you guys. All right. So, with that being said, I just want to thank you guys for being here with me this evening. And of course, I'm going to be back tomorrow for another reading. So, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click the bell so that way if you are a cross watcher, you will be notified whenever I do a reading for your particular sign. Okay? And again, make sure to share this with a fellow Gemini, sun, moon, or rising. Okay, make sure to share because again, it may be a Gemini out there who needs to hear this, especially the married Gemini. Some of y'all are dealing with some issues in your relationship. It's got some vices going on. And there's some religious factors going on that all those things that I mentioned before. So send this to your fellow Gemini. They might need this message, okay? You never know, all right? So that's going to conclude this transmission for tonight. And again, I love you for watching, all right? Till next time. Bye now.